Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to, I don't know how many videos I'm posting here on a Friday, but this will be the final one of the day, and it's going to be about the Apothecary, the revive farming situation, and the revive farming nerfing situation. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I do have some notes which will be in the description, which we're going to go over. I'm basically going to be referring to some of those as well, so I'm going to do that in this. Right, but let's just get right into it, because there's a bit of reading and a bit of kind of like jerk reaction. Okay, after last week's announcement changes to revive farming and early game content, we have monitored the community conversations through numerous channels, including these forums, content creator program, various other social media content, blah 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 blah. So the adjustments. Let's get right to the point. And in a nutshell, does and I've written this kind of first note. Does this solve all of the problems? No, it doesn't. It will not solve 100% of the issues that players have raised. It will not sort out, where you kind of like looking at this particular situation. There's a lot of contradictions in some of the things Kabam are posting. There's some revelations, and in particular when it comes to addressing needs, wants, and times where you will need to require a lot of revives like Karina's challenges, and as well stretched over things like EOP, Gauntlet, and stuff like that. But let's get into it. So a bit of good news is that the caps for the stash or your inventory is going to increase. That's one good little thing right there. So increases wise, let's go to a Cat Murdoch infographic. Fantastic by Cat. Thanks for doing that. You can see like the Apothecary is now going to be open on for 7 days as opposed to 5. Your storage limit is going to increase to 20 of the level 1 revives, level 2 revives, and etc. With the sigil, it would be up to 25. And 22-hour events, third milestone for Thronebreaker and Paragon is going to go up to a level 2 revive. Also, over the course of the month, there's some good news as well. I mean, this will take longer. It will take to May to get this done. But with 7 being available and with a limit of 12, you can stack up to 34. There's some other kind of breakdowns of this. To kind of like go and see Cat's like infographic to kind of get more kind of like idea of this. But in a nutshell, the way that Kabam have done it is that by having having the ability to have more opportunity to get level 2 revives, and also with the same stagnation of the level 1 revives and the inventory cap, Kabam feel that they've kind of mitigated the issue of having availability and volume of revives to do some of this endgame content. For full details, go and check out the link in the description. I'll put a link to this forum thread if you forum post. We'll look at some of the forum threads in a minute as to like some response on the matter. For me, I'm looking at it like it's just I'm happy that Kabam have done something, but I don't think this is the right kind of like action to it. It's something that it's difficult because Kabam are looking at something retrospectively, but something that's been retrospectively causing harm, which now they need to kind of like put a lock on. But the problem is, by putting the lock on it, they've put something near, well, it's not loads of locks, but it's kind of like in a way that feels more punishing than it is. And I guess the kind of justification around it is something that balances. It goes into some different areas of how units play a factor in it. Well, again, we'll kind of go over this in a minute. But something we need to get out of the way is kind of like timeline of things. So Kabam, what they're going to be doing is the inventory caps going to be sorted out at a later date, which looks like it will go into we are planning for the inventory cap and add the level 2 revive to the 22-hour events to be implemented as soon as possible. We're targeting late next week, so look out for that when that comes in. But also the Apothecary changes will largely come into we'll start on a 5-day cycle and go to 7 in the May build, so obviously next month. So the main thing about this is like the above stuff I've kind of covered, I'll just brush through, but it's these last kind of bits about transparent design philosophy going down to in development, content risk, and why change is impactful and other stuff. Because there's a bit of contradiction in here. There's some interesting insights and some other stuff. So the interesting insights come with, first of all, potion ecosystem. We all know that it needs to be dealt with. I mean, look at the state of like in-game at the moment, and you're kind of going like, okay, well, I've got myself in the 22-hour event, which currently on is event quest completion. Okay, well, what do I get there? I get a level 4 health potion. Let's just go to the level 4 health potion, click on it, and it's like it recovers 5,000 health. You're going to be getting 7 stars soon that have health pools that are more than likely going to be stretching past the 40 and 50k mark. 5k is not going to cut it. And the same issue, even worse, when it comes to different areas of the game. Now, that's something that is a bit of a weird point because it's been mentioned to Kabam so many times, and it's only now like, do you know what? We should actually deal with this. Yes, you definitely should. But very weird that it will take about 5 to 6 months to implement on that particular subject. I find that a bit bizarre, but Bizarre and Marvel Contest of Champions and Kabam are two things that go very well side by side. So, moving on to that other stuff. We want to revisit further and explain driving forces behind these choices and what we mean when we say the frenzied revive farming trivializes difficult content like Karina's challenges and Eternity of Pain. We feel the best way to further explain is to provide additional design transparency in the way we avoid due to challenging and often controversial nature of managing the in-game economy. We often avoid in-depth discussions around the in-game economy. At its core, MCC is a game designed to entertain, but each and every piece of content we release comes with goals for our game teams, which is create difficulty of content. I get that, but again, at this point I'm going to come back to is creating a game that's inclusive, not exclusive for certain pieces of content. Oh, by the way, you're not allowed to do so. You're not that skilled. You can't do something. You're not allowed to do something. And I know there's a point in time where you go, I must challenge myself to be something better than I am by doing this. But it's like, that was never anything from the start. This game has kind of evolved out of and into something completely different. And I get it, games evolve, but at the same time, it's like the fun element comes out of stuff where it's just like becomes stressful or frustrating. Something that I found in recent years, like I've become too stressful when it comes to playing certain elements of the game. So Kabam want me to quit. Is that what they want? Is that what they're saying? We don't want people like you, Richard Manning, playing this game. Okay, fine. I guess that's the case. In any case, that's a bit OTT. Let's move on. We set challenge goals, how hard it should be. Well, you quite obviously, that's the thing. There's a contradiction there because you would getting all those revives pinpoints that players obviously are struggling with the content if they're using the revives. We set progression goals, how powerful should summoners have to be to tackle it and how powerful should they be once they complete it. We set time goals, how much active play time should it require, how many days, weeks and months should it take for summoners at various progression tiers to complete it. And we set consumable goals, how many units, potions, revives, boosts do we expect the players use. And do bear in mind, Kabam massively contradicted themselves with what they did to Act 6.2.6 with this. They failed and then had to nerf it several years in the future. So there's always this level of contradiction. Anyway, moving on. The line is the original post about having to cancel development and endgame content wasn't an idle threat of hyperbole. The game team has literally had meetings where they asked if they could still continue to develop Everest and endgame content in the environment where we know it won't meet our goals because here's the thing, right? The free revives. So is what Kabam's saying is that everybody in this community is unhappy with the game when it comes to this stuff? No. When have you heard people go, oh, do you know what? I was really unhappy about this, and oh, you use revives to go through it. It's like, well, who's annoyed? Are Kabam annoyed? Because they seem like the only people that are annoyed by all this. Then the player base, obviously the player base is annoyed now because of the revive farm nerfing situation. But prior to that, could you literally say, apart from Battlegrounds, people were obviously the game functions and there's other stuff that people complain about. But I have heard less people complaining about the Everest based content, except for if we didn't have this option, it'd be like the content is too difficult. Look, there's different things to this. Maybe I'm wrong on this. It's just a case of prior to all this, I still think players were relatively happy with what was going on. But moving on. Those consumables make any content we develop easier than intended, makes the content accessible to less powerful summoners than intended. Pardon me. Excuse me for not less powerful summoners. Are they talking about me? Oh, I guess I must not play then. Don't play anymore. The result in the content being completed faster than intended and with a smaller investment in items and resources than intended. It also removes the need for players to participate in other game modes and events to power up and diversify their rosters, like doing a load of arena, getting a load of units, buying a load of revives and using it in the content. Or getting specific types of champions to deal with certain situations, which I went and got a featured champion that was going to help me out with the Spider-Verse one, which, it was the Spider-Man Supreme, And it took me 3 months to do Karina's Challenges, Volume 3. But I'm sorry that I am the wrong person to do that particular content, and I should not be doing that content. This type of content is designed to be difficult. It is designed to be aspirational. It should take skill, appropriate roster choices, and preparation. I did all that one. Skill, well, I don't know, not so much. But then it's like I've had trash AI sometimes, and other times have been good. Sometimes bad, but that's the game. It should be the North Star for summoners to work towards and fight to accomplish. It is not meant to be inevitable. Sorry, Thanos snap. Yeah, in any case, in development content risks, bespoke and handcrafted Everest and endgame content is some of the most resource intensive and costly content for us to produce. It's also some of the most popular content that drives summoners forward. We can't continue to develop the content. It is at a net loss. Points on screen. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I guess we won't be seeing spring cleaning anytime soon then. Revive farming puts our ability to create this content at serious risk, especially because it doesn't just impact unit spend on revives. Revive farming also impacts the need and upgrade for new champions, which is fundamentally part of the core of this game. So just use Hercules, I guess. I mean, I'm sorry I ranked up my Spider-Man Supreme to do the content that I did. Sorry for ranking up Crossbones to use in the content as well. But just use Hercules, I guess. Without these changes, Act 8 will be the last chapter of the story content. Additionally, we wouldn't see any more Everest content such as... So, you're just going to... There's some really weird stuff here. Like, I'm not going to go too much into this because it's like going like, oh, it's all doom and gloom. Oh, it's the end. Oh, you didn't make a load of money within... Look, I mean, look. We got to get serious on this stuff. It's a big... Do you know what? I really don't know. I don't know how this is coming across. I don't know how it's coming across to you as a player. There's a lot more explanation. I mean, I appreciate the transparency on this, but it's like there's different facts to kind of go different ways on it, and also there will be more damage that will be done. Look, Deadpool spring cleaning's coming up, and we just saying we're like Kabam aren't going to make any money on that for ranking up champions and stuff. But it's like the idea now is like we put endgame content in order for you to spend money on. I don't know. My mind is just frazzled. I don't really kind of have the kind of like patience for stuff like this at the moment. I just kind of feel like what are you talking about? The ease of access, just do skins within the game. If it's so much of a trouble to put endgame content in, just put buyable skins in the game for different champions. That may have been an easier way to make a bit more money if money is a problem, but I don't see it being a problem. I don't know. I really don't know. What is going on? I'm going to look to end this video or kind of like get to the end point myself because it is just giving me a bit of a headache to kind of like assess kind of these things. I want to read these last two kind of paragraphs and finish with the conclusion. The ease of access to Revive Farm provided the result of many summoners being able to punch above their weight class with enough revives. Summoners can brute force any content. This means over time the community's mentality towards endgame content shifted from intended aspirational to feeling that it should be inevitable, or feeling stressful and disappointed when you can't get through it. That's the other side of things. It is unfortunate side effects that directly contributes to the removal of farm to allow the game team to reliably create and balance new endgame content and Everest type content. Keep in mind that Revive farming method has not been present in MCOC. This was a result of a change that took place in November 2021. Did it? I thought it was way before that. Prior to this, preparing for content involved grinding mostly for units, not revives. Summoners would discuss content and brag about the completion of X units or fewer, design benchmarks, etc. Well, there were times when people were still using a lot of revive farming to do it. It wasn't just a case of it was exclusively units, but that's another story for another day. It will come down to design intention for quite some time. Summoners' chosen utilization of units has shifted away from design intent. It's something that we've discussed before. Units are meant to be used to help summoners progress through the game. They are catch-all solutions. They can be hoarded and used for deals during sales, which is, you know, what I think that a lot of them should be used for, just to help like summoners and players get up with other people. I've definitely learned that from being non-spending since December 2021, right? It's been something that's been more important to kind of learn that if you want to chase resources for prestige gains and improvements, and a lot of players will opt for kind of like, look, July 4th deals comes around, Cyber Weekend deals, and you're like looking at yourself going, look, tier 6 class catalysts around the corner, 7-star shards, chase items, players have this, it's bumping prestige, players are going for it, they're trying to get relics which will be at 5-star, 6-star, and chase things like that. That's what people are saving up for, because non-spenders can't compete with those at the very top. Anyway, read on. But only the cost, ignoring them as a solution through reviving and healing. MCOC provides a lot of access to free premium currency. They do. Like, this thing is, like, I've been non-spending since, as I said, December 2021, and I've managed to farm a lot of units. But time is going to be a very important factor, and I'll have to then balance in kind of reinvesting elsewhere. So I might have to do more arena in my life. So to answer the question, this is a different because simply put, summoners are meant to have access to units that are providing in specific measured ways. Summoners are not meant to have access to revives in the current overtuned capacity. Additionally, most unit farming requires engaged play, such as the arena, the Act 3, or auto-fighting through lower content. I mean, Kabam lay on 600 units a month that you can theoretically auto-fight and farm. So, and what is that? 10 plus, just doing quick maths now, I can't really be bothered to do it. 15 level 2 revives equivalent for literally auto-fighting and having 0 effort. Whereas, you know, there's a little bit of a contradiction there. Act 3 revive, and obviously, yes, you got a lot more from Act 3. Yes, indeed. And a conclusion. We've got to get to a conclusion. If you made it this far, thank you for reading. We will continue to our efforts to push needle and transparency further and further. So I appreciate the transparency on this one. There's a lot of stuff I do disagree with. I think there's some really weird omissions on the subject of what I think to be financial elements. I just don't know where Kabam are going with how they're pitching this particular post. And I appreciate the honesty. I just want to say that. I've seen a few kind of quite vicious things towards Jax. Do bear in mind, Kabam, Jax has to do a job, and a lot of the time there will be people dictating to him what he has to put down, say in this thread, and things he can say and stuff, and that's one of the reasons that the stream was cancelled, because of ongoing things like this, and it's bad, because then I've seen on Reddit's a place, it really is a place, where they're making some vicious attacks against Jax, and that's not fair. It's not his responsibility to, yes, he's got to take kind of feedback to the game team, and yes, he will try and fight for us as much as possible and relay our side of things, but at the same time there will be people above his pay grade telling him what to do. Unless he goes, well, you do what I say or I'll quit, that's not going to happen. You can't just say someone's going to lose their job just because they. But anyway, we've got to get to the point. And the point of the matter is, it's a change. It's not great. Kabam are making changes, so well done for doing the inventory increase. But it's not on the high volume as you might think. If Kabam say if Kabam just said we'll meet you in the middle and just go here's the changes we plan to do, and then kind of find out where players are with it. There should be a little bit open negotiation to increase the volume of level 1 and level 2 revives. I think more with the level 1 revives. If there was guaranteed 2. If Kabam said 2 per day out of the Apothecary, guaranteed, then I think I might be okay with it. Or maybe 3 at a push, but definitely 2 would probably be the negotiation point I would go in. 1 over 7 days was a bit meh. The level 2 kind of access is relatively good. It still slows down the progression of getting content done. I don't like the continuation of this particular thread, because it feels like it's going more exclusive than inclusive for the player base, and it's going if you're not skilled, then well, screw you, just use units, which is a contradiction to the point of the first place, which is exactly the same. Even though Kabam say, well, no, this is not the argument you should be presenting, it is exactly the same argument. Otherwise, Kabam would not have an ability to use units on revives and health potions. So there's just a lot of contradiction in this for a second time. In any case, I think this video has gone on long enough. So small, it's if I was to say it's 25% yay, 75% nay on this. So small W. Interesting points from some people. I saw, like, good. The level 2 revives endgame players in 22 hour welcomed. The inventory increase is good, but could be slightly more generous. I agree. That's the other way of doing it. Going like, right, we'll hold more. We can hold more. Bad threat of saying Act 8 would be the last wasn't implemented. Really, most players would say Act content is fairly balanced. Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? Like, I just don't. Prior to all this, I know Kabam see a problem. I don't. Why were people really unhappy with kind of like the eco space of the game? But I guess if Kabam are unhappy, then it's like, right, well, we got to bend our knee to Kabam on this one. Like, no, it's like, do you not develop a game for people, for other people, not just yourself? Kabam don't develop a game for Kabam. They develop a game for people to play it. If people don't play it, then people don't spend on it. But I don't know. Maybe I've got it completely wrong. Man, weird Friday and weird video to leave on. I'm going to work on some other content, other video ideas. Yeah, that's it. I'm done with this. This is just so weird. And again, check out some other content. What are your thoughts on this particular subject? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.